This episode is full of cranberry sauce. You're in the Playhouse. Welcome to the Playhouse. I'm Uncle Paul. And today we're going to be talking about potentially the greatest double A-sided single ever released by the Beatles. But first, it's time for our very special hellos. Hello to Christopher Cruz and Caddy, Logan, Mr. Sticker Mania, Frank, Sticker Granddaughter, and Sticker Kid, MFK, JVS, Polly Hewitt, Patricia of A Little Beatles Corner, Matthew Street, Rachel's Ghost, Andrew of Parlogram, Andrew Dixon, Mark and Carol Lapidos, Beatle Brad, Ken Michaels Radio, Brendan Snyder, Beatle Dave, and Dave Sunstrom. Now, if you'd like a very special hello, and or like to dedicate one to someone, your spouse, or even your pet's name, please just leave it in the comments below and we'll say hello in a future episode. And that's our very special hellos for today. Well, it's time to dip into the record case. This is, of course, in my opinion, but there's a lot to factual stuff that I'm going to now share with everyone. This is the double A-sided single of Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields Forever, released by the Beatles on February 13th, 1967. It had been a long time since the Beatles had a single. Normally, singles would come out practically every 6 weeks to 2 months. The last single at that time was on August 5th, 1966, and it was Yellow Submarine and Eleanor Rigby. Now, of course, with the Beatles, most of their singles, that the B-sides became hits and were just as popular as the A-side, but they thought of them as a B-side. But there are many. I'll say a few real fast. We Can Work It Out, Day Tripper, Hey Jude, Revolution. And of course, yes, probably tied with this, as I hear members of the Playhouse screaming, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and I Saw Her Standing There, the first Capitol single released in late January 1964. The historical importance of that single is not forgotten by the Playhouse. But for me, as I tell you a few other now facts about this single, all right, now it was recorded from November 1966 through December. And for the first time, the Beatles took 45 hours to record just Strawberry Fields, which is, again, our main topic today. We'll talk about Penny Lane in a future episode. The Beatles, for the first time as well, designed the picture sleeve. And this was used mostly worldwide. Now, here they are, and this was quite a shock to everyone, because, again, the Beatles had not been seen in public. What we think is a short time now, in the 60s, it seemed like a long time. Remember, we said that their last single was not released since August of 66. So when this came out in February of 67, this was the first time that the record-buying public and the fans got to see the Beatles sporting facial hair. And on the backside, again, the Beatles designed this picture sleeve, which had never been done before. So it shows how much also that they really cared about this single being released universally. Is they depicted baby photographs of each of the Beatles, which is perfect, because again, this single had a theme, and it was one of the first. These two songs were one of the first recorded during the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band sessions. And yes, these two songs were originally intended to be on Sgt. Pepper. But again, that story can be for a future episode. I'm going to show you some singles, all relating to Strawberry Fields. Here's the promotional record, not for sale, that was sent to the DJs. This greenish yellow label. Here is the, I love this one. And you're going to hear that I love everything. But what makes this extremely interesting also, remember I said that this was a double A sided single. So Strawberry Fields Forever is on the green apple side. This is, of course, we're going to be showing you later reissues, because just the first one we already showed you on the capital orange and yellow swirl. And yes, for a second. So then the back lane, back was Penny Lane with the sliced Granny Smith apple. And because most people kind of see, Penny Lane got most of the airplay back in 1967 when this was released. Strawberry Fields Forever was not necessarily, was more appreciated as the years went by. Now here is the Starline version. This was kind of like when Capitol reissued records, and this, of course, they're both in mono always. But here's the Strawberry Fields Forever blue Starline label, and this is the Jukebox Onlys series that came out in the 90s. This is Strawberry Fields Forever on a beautiful red vinyl. And we're going to talk about Around the World. And this is the French version. Now, then they were still having EPs. So they didn't use the generic, the picture sleeve that the Beatles designed. Because there's 4 songs on an EP, of course, EP standing for extended play. And but they do, Strawberry Fields Forever is on the A side of this French EP. This one is from Mexico. This is another EP, but it's on the Capitol label. And this time, Penny Lane and Strawberry Fields are on both sides. And this is the United Kingdom picture disc that was released, I think, in the late 80s. And this was a series. But here's the back of the picture sleeve that's depicted on the picture disc. But Strawberry Fields is the A side on this picture disc. So it says here, other side, Strawberry Fields Forever. So again, proving that it was a double A-sided single, and it was released either kind of as an A-side, because they're telling you that, and it says right here, A. So you hear Strawberry Fields on that. And to more here, this is very unique. This is a underground album that was put out by Suta Records. But what makes this extremely odd is, yes, underground record, or sometimes obviously called a bootleg. But this came out in 1967, and it has just all the original Beatle recordings on it. So this could have been one of the first bootlegs, but especially containing their versions. But since it had just come out here, this is not a hype sticker. It's printed right onto the cover. And it says, including Strawberry Fields. And then last, very interesting, and this is also UK, Strawberry Fields is considered the A-side. This didn't take off too well, the format, but they are very popular with collectors. A lot of fun. Because again, you see the picture sleeve here. This is a 3-inch CD. And if you've ever noticed, if on your DVD player, and yes, I'm sure many members of the Playhouse still have a DVD player. When you take out the tray to put your disc in, universally, there's a indentation on the tray And that is meant, even though it didn't take off, and it's to hold your 3-inch CDs. And every DVD player pretty much has that indent in the tray. But most people don't know what it's used for, but I'm sure many of our Playhouse members know why that indent is on there. Right now we're going to talk about some items that are related to Strawberry Fields and how they've been marketed through the years. But this is certainly not marketing. This is something very special. This is an actual brick from Strawberry Field, which of course is the name of the real place, that it was a Salvation Army children's home that, of course, John Lennon used to visit because he lived very near there as a child. And when they were doing a restoration of Strawberry Field, they decided to start selling. They didn't knock down the whole thing. There were enough bricks, in fact, there were 2,500 of them, that they made available to the public to purchase. And yes, this is one of the Playhouse's most treasured items, that it got here safely from Liverpool there, Strawberry Field. All right, now, Strawberry Fields has been marketed in many ways. We're just going to show you a few fun ones. There was a yogurt brand called Strawberry Fields, I think by Dannon, but here are Strawberry Fields Tic Tacs, and they're pink and white, and they might even still be selling these, but I got this variation about 10 years ago. This is from 2017 from Fresh Express. And yes, it's a Strawberry Fields salad kit. Not sure John was really thinking of that when he wrote "Living is easy with eyes closed, misunderstanding all you see." But I do love these products when they do come out. This is from 2004. The Strawberry Fields cereal, and it's organic, and of course you got your little strawberries in with the cereal parts. And again, it's been marketed many times over, and I'm sure they will continue to. And one of the last items to show today is the Strawberry Fields official authorized tie, and this came out in 1997, and it's a very nice design, saluting the classic song. Now, back to cranberry sauce. Now, what were two seemingly innocent words spoken by John Lennon at the end during the fade out of the song, right before the dead wax, as it's fading out, you hear John say what most people believe to be cranberry sauce. And this led to a frenzy among Beatle fans and collectors. Conspiracy theories. People were obsessed with this. They were looking for clues on all different album covers. And it all went back to November 1966, when Paul McCartney did not attend John's Thanksgiving dinner. In fact, it was rumored that Paul had actually sent a look-alike to John's house for Thanksgiving. And again, this led to speculation and so many different clues of, did Paul McCartney send a double for John's Thanksgiving dinner? Now, Paul McCartney has always denied it. He said he was there and that he enjoyed everything except the stuffing. All right, well, that'll do it for now. I thank you. And the Playhouse is closed. Thanks, Joe Friday.